Hi, it's Stephen Ross, author of Doors Open When You Knock, Realtor's Handbook for Boundless Opportunity and Freedom. And today we're talking about incentives. So I'm going to start with a quote I've mentioned before. Human nature is surprisingly universal and it is universally disappointing. Got that from the morning show. However, I have a new take on that quote after listening to Morgan Housel's book, Same as Ever, which I've quoted also refer to that. Anyways, he has a chapter on incentives, and the following paragraph struck me. When you understand how powerful incentives can be, you stop being surprised when the world lurches from one absurdity to the next. If asked, hey, how many people in the world are truly crazy? I might say, I don't know, 3 to 5%. But if I asked, how many people in the world would be willing to do something crazy if their incentives were right? I'd say easily 50% or more. Housel outlines the story of the former Mexican drug lord El Chapo. El Chapo, if you don't know El Chapo, he was essentially a hero to the locals, and they would do whatever they needed to protect him, which sounds crazy given his reputation. And so also in the book, Housel recounts a story there was a documentary on El Chapo, and he put this transcript in the book, which I'm now going to read to you. You're talking about people who have almost no income. It was not uncommon for El Chapo to stop and talk to someone and say, hey, what's going on in your life? And the person would say, oh, my daughter's getting married. Chapo would say, I'll take care of it. He'd get a big place, provide the band, provide the booze and food, and the whole town is invited. And the father of the bride says, Chapo made this possible. And so his point was that you have these good, honest, well-meaning people who end up supporting or partaking in bad behavior because the incentives to play along are so strong. All right, so what does that have to do with selling real estate, as my dog is sitting right here next to me? He wants to know too. Last week I talked about how loan officers have a very low opinion of real estate agents. Like, real estate agents are surprisingly universal and universally disappointing. So what I'm about to say isn't going to exonerate the poor performers. However, it might provide a little context as to why there are so many poor performers in our industry. So first off, and you already know this, real estate has a low barrier to entry. You take some classes, often online, take a test, and voila, you're a real estate agent. Contrast that to my wife, who went to 4 years of college, 4 years of medical school, and did 4 years of residency before she could begin practicing medicine. To begin selling real estate, you also do not need a lot of capital. I mean, you need money to pay your bills before you make any sales, but you don't need to hire anyone, you don't need to buy any equipment, and you definitely don't need $200,000 or more in student loans. Therefore, if you are working a job where you dislike your boss, hate what you do, and aren't making much money, real estate seems pretty simple and easy to switch to. This also means that anyone can decide to become a real estate agent, the exact opposite of becoming a physician or a dentist or a lawyer. Simply getting into medical, dental, or law schools can be incredibly difficult. And that's the first screening process. Then you have to survive those schools. Okay, so anyone can become a real estate agent. Once they get their license, then what? Well, how do we get rewarded in real estate? We make a sale. Human beings are addicted to status. Often we define our self-worth by what others think of us. And historically, real estate offices and the industry glorify top producers with awards and rankings and other hoopla. Making sales in real estate then has the double benefit of giving us income, so we can buy more status with cars, clothes, etc., and giving us status amongst our peers. So the more homes you sell, the more income you make, and the more status you have with your peers. All of this to say, real estate has many untrained, unqualified people racing to make sales at any cost to pay their bills and define their self-worth. Is that too much of a stretch? I don't know. What are the incentives driving many people in real estate? I think it's sell homes at any cost to survive, pay bills, and preserve status, ego. What's the incentive to be good? What's the incentive to become a professional? What's the incentive to expand who you are as a human being? What about the incentive to do what is best for the client, especially when the rent is due next month and the bank account is close to empty? What is the incentive to build relationships for the future? I need to sell homes today. Who cares what my reputation and skill sets are 5 years from now? Who knows if I will even be selling real estate then? Maybe I'll go back to waiting tables or move on to, I don't know, growing weed. I don't know. Because if someone didn't invest time and effort to develop their skill and reputation and build a business, what do they have at stake? What does it cost them to stop selling real estate and move on to the next thing? Nothing. Nothing. They aren't paying off student loans or anything else. Real estate was simply one more job on their cluttered life path. You see the problem here? We live in a world that incentivizes celebrity. It's about looking the part, not being the part. Look at me, look how great and amazing I am, I'm on, blah, 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 blah. That was a terrible impersonation, but whatever, you get the point. No one wants to do the work, incentives. No one wants to take the time to build a business, incentives. No one wants to put in the effort to develop themselves as a professional, incentives. While doctors and other professionals have 8 to 12 years of training before they go out and practice, consider it takes the same 8 to 12 years in real estate to essentially have enough on-the-job training to develop real skills. However, if one's incentive is simply to make money, what training is anyone getting? Incentives. Incentives. What if the next 3 to 7 years is a total shakeout? What if only the professionals survive? What if? As the pressure mounts on commissions, consumers are likely to put more scrutiny and wonder why they are paying incompetent, poorly skilled, and trained people with a license large sums of money. Unless we can demonstrate we are worthy, well then, some real estate agents will continue to reduce their fees so that it matches their skills. In that light, the incentive to be a pro is huge, but it is in the future, and how many people are going to do the work? The phrase that repeats in my head, universally disappointing. If you want to upgrade your skills in being a real estate professional, find out more about how I can help you, just click on the link below, schedule a time to chat. See you in the next video.